All right, so you want to get your credit in shape, huh? Well, we're diving deep today into AC Wealth Credit Repair, 20 hacks and 6 new habits.
Yeah, think of this as like your credit repair toolkit.
I like that. So the book really pushes for you to take charge of your credit journey.
Hmm.
It even goes into the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Right.
Why is that so important to understand?
So it's kind of like imagine walking into a courtroom and not knowing the law.
Mm,
You're going to be at a disadvantage.
right?
The Fair Credit Reporting Act, it's like your playbook. It lays out all the rules. It makes sure everything's fair and accurate when it comes to how your credit information is collected and used.
So it's not just about fixing errors, it's understanding the whole system.
Exactly. It gives you the power to challenge anything that's not right and hold those credit bureaus accountable.
Okay, so speaking of challenging inaccuracies, the book dives deep into these dispute letters and gives 8 steps to write a really strong one. But one thing that stood out to me was sending it through certified mail.
Uh-huh.
Is that just a formality?
It's more than that. Think about it. When you get that certified mail receipt, it's like you're saying checkmate. It
Oh,
not only proves they got it, but it also has this psychological impact. The credit bureau knows you're serious, you're
yeah.
organized, and that might just lead to a quicker and better response.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. It's like you're subtly shifting the power,
Mm.
you know? So we've tackled the reactive side, like dealing with those errors head on, but
Mm.
the book also stresses being proactive, like building good habits.
Yeah, credit repair, it's not a one-time fix, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
One habit the book highlights is to consistently review your credit reports from all three bureaus,
Okay.
Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian every 90 days.
Every 90 days. Wow, that seems like a lot. Why so often?
Well, it's like checking your bank statements for errors. You wouldn't wait months to do that, right? Regularly reviewing your credit reports helps you catch those inaccuracies early on. You get to see what the creditors see. You can track your progress.
Yeah.
It's all about staying informed and being proactive with your credit health.
Got it. So it's like constantly keeping an eye on your financial well-being.
Precisely. And that leads us to the book's two-pronged approach to credit repair.
Okay.
Getting rid of the negative items and at the same time building positive credit.
So it's like cleaning out your financial closet and adding some nice new pieces.
Exactly.
But wouldn't it be faster to just apply for a bunch of new credit accounts all at once?
Oh, that's where understanding inquiries comes in.
Okay.
Each time you apply for credit, it creates an inquiry on your report.
Yeah.
Too many of those in a short time can actually hurt your score. It makes you look desperate for credit.
Ah, so it's about being strategic, not just rushing into things.
Exactly. Think of it like building a house. You wouldn't try to put up all the walls at once without a solid foundation, would you?
Right.
Building positive credit takes time and careful planning.
Patience is key.
Yeah.
All right, so the book gets really specific about tackling those negative items, especially charge-offs.
Right.
It even suggests negotiating settlements. What's the best way to approach that?
Negotiating with collection agencies can be intimidating, but it's often a good option. You got to be prepared and assertive, just like any other negotiation.
The book really emphasizes getting everything in writing.
Yeah.
Why is that so important?
Well, verbal agreements, they can easily be forgotten or misinterpreted.
Sure.
A written contract that spells out all the terms of the settlement, the payment you agreed on, and confirmation that the debt will be removed or marked as paid, that protects you and ensures accountability.
So it's like having that legally binding proof just in case anything comes up later. Now, what about those old paid-off accounts? Should you close them out for a clean slate?
Not necessarily.
Really?
Remember, those older accounts, even if they're inactive, they contribute to the length of your credit history, which is a factor in your score. Lenders like to see a long and consistent track record of responsible credit management.
Oh, okay, so it's like proof that you've been financially responsible for a while.
Exactly. And this ties into the idea of credit mix, which the book highlights as a significant factor in your FICO score. Having a variety of credit accounts like credit cards, installment loans, mortgages, it shows you can handle different types of credit responsibly.
So it's like having a diversified investment portfolio, but for your credit.
Precisely. It's all about building a strong and resilient financial foundation.
This has been so helpful. We've uncovered some really powerful strategies for taking control of your credit. What's the one key takeaway you want our listener to walk away with?
Knowledge is power. The more you know about how credit works, the more empowered you'll be to make smart decisions and reach your financial goals.
Great advice. We've covered a lot of ground, but we're not done yet. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll uncover even more practical tips and insights from AC Wealth Credit Repair. Welcome back. So last time we were talking about credit mix and having a variety of accounts. The book mentions having credit cards and installment loan, like for a car and a mortgage, to show you can handle different types of debt.
Right, it's about showing you can manage different types of credit responsibly.
Okay, but let's say someone's just starting to build their credit. Should they go out and get all these different types of loans right away?
Not necessarily. You have to remember those inquiries.
Right.
Each time you apply for credit, it leaves a mark on your report. Too many inquiries can make you look risky to lenders.
So you got to be careful. So you want to build that mix, but you also don't want to hurt your score with too many inquiries.
Like a balancing act. You need to be strategic, plan it out, and not rush the process.
Okay, so don't go applying for everything at once.
Exactly. Focus on building good habits with the credit you have. Now manage it responsibly and then gradually add more over time.
It's like training for a marathon. You wouldn't try to run 26 miles on day one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Building credit is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time, consistency, and a long-term view.
Got it. So we talked about building positive credit, but what about those negative items that might be dragging your score down? The book mentions charge-offs as a tough one.
Yeah, charge-offs happen when a creditor basically gives up on you getting that debt back. They can really hurt your score, but there are ways to deal with them.
The book talks about negotiating settlements as a possible solution. How do you even start that conversation with a collection agency?
Remember, collection agencies are businesses. They're often open to negotiation. The key is being prepared and knowing what you want, just like any other business deal.
The book really stresses getting everything in writing. Why is that so important when you're dealing with collections?
Think of it like buying a house. You wouldn't just shake hands and call it a day.
Right.
You want a contract to protect yourself. It's the same with settling a debt. You need a written agreement that spells out everything. The payment, the fact that the debt will be removed or marked as paid, that protects you and makes sure everyone's accountable.
So it's not just about paying it off. It's about making sure it's official and shows up correctly on your credit report.
Right. Now, another thing that people often wonder about is whether to close old paid-off accounts. The book says don't.
Really? Why is that?
It might seem counterintuitive, but those older accounts, even if you're not using them anymore, they add to the length of your credit history. That's a big factor in your score. Lenders like to see a long history of you managing credit responsibly. Closing those accounts can shorten your history and actually lower your score.
So it's not just about the balance. It's about showing you've been responsible for a long time.
Like a fine wine, it gets better with age.
I like that. So those older accounts show you're financially mature.
Exactly. They add depth to your credit profile and show you're stable.
This has been incredibly helpful. I feel like I'm getting a much better understanding of how this all works. What's one key takeaway you want our listener to have from today?
You have more control over your credit than you think. By understanding the rules, being proactive, and building good habits, you can really take charge of your financial future.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our credit repair deep dive. And man, I'm feeling pretty good about tackling my own credit after all this.
I love that. It's all about feeling empowered, right? Not overwhelmed. And hey, remember, you don't have to go it alone.
Yeah, the book even mentions getting help from a pro if you need it. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to that thing about having different kinds of loan accounts. The source says that helps your credit mix.
It's kind of like diversifying your investments.
Yeah.
Spreading your money around to lower the risk.
Right.
It's the same idea with credit. Having revolving credit like credit cards and installment loans, like a car loan or a mortgage, shows lenders you can handle different kinds of debt responsibly.
So it's not just about avoiding debt completely. It's about using different types of credit strategically.
Exactly. Now, I know some people might be thinking, so does that mean I should go out and get a loan just to boost my credit mix?
That's a good question. But I think the main takeaway here is not to jump into anything new too quickly. Focus on those positive habits with the credit you have now, and then maybe think about expanding your credit mix strategically down the road.
I agree. It's about making smart choices that make sense for your overall financial goals, not just chasing a higher credit score.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of credit repair. It's not just about fixing the past, it's about building a better financial future.
That's the perfect way to put it. Remember, credit repair is a journey. It's about constantly learning, growing, and taking control.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our credit repair deep dive.
Right.
We hope you've gotten as much out of this conversation as we have.
Keep learning, keep taking action, and remember, you have the power to create the credit future you want and reach those financial dreams.
That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll catch